All right, Tennessee lawmakers sounding the alarm after local reports claim that the Biden administration is secretly flying unaccompanied migrant kids into Tennessee in the middle of the night without telling the local authorities. Republican Tennessee Congressman Mark Green wants answers from the White House, and he joins us now from Nashville. Congressman, good morning.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
So there's this story that apparently they are flying these kids into airports like in Chattanooga, unannounced. They didn't notify local authorities. Why would that be? Why wouldn't they give you guys a heads up? Hey, we're doing the migrant process. We're going to bring them into Tennessee. Why wouldn't they tell you?
Well, first, Steve, how do we get here? We got here because Joe Biden did away with the asylum agreements, and the drug cartels are grabbing these children, coming across Central America, dumping them at our border, and getting into our country. Basically, Biden's facilitating human trafficking. And then they got to figure out what to do. So they I spoke to our governor last night about this issue, and he's done a very good job of keeping us informed. He was called 2 weeks ago by the Biden administration and asked, do you want to take, these migrants, these illegal migrants? And he said, no, we do not want to take them. So that's why they're having to sneak them into Tennessee, because we told them you can't just bring them here without our permission, and they're doing it anyway.
Well, about a month or so ago, Kim Reynolds, the governor of Iowa, was asked, can we bring kids to Iowa? And she said, no. We don't know if they're flying them into Waterloo under the cover of darkness, but we do know that that is happening in Tennessee. But you would think that the government would ask the state for permission, and they would have to be granted it, because we know that, thousands of migrants on your doorstep could be a huge financial, could suck a lot of money out of your state coffers.
Sure, absolutely. It's an unfunded mandate. You think about it. I was a state senator, and we looked at the costs of the refugee program, years ago. You have to, English is a second language. The states have to pay for that in their education systems, and all the myriad of other things. You can give them to nonprofits, which is essentially what, the Biden administration is now doing. But the taxpayer winds up paying this bill, and basically it's an unfunded mandate by the federal government. It fits completely, though, with the Joe Biden leftist mentality that all power should reside in Washington, D.C., right. And they can just ignore that 10th Amendment and force Tennessee to do this.
Well, we've got a statement from the HHS, but they do not address why they're flying kids into Tennessee. They say, as part of the unification process, the office is currently facilitating travel for the children in custody to their sponsors to prevent any delays. Contractors use various transportation modes to get them wherever they're going. But that doesn't say why they're not telling you guys. Meanwhile, let's talk a little bit about this. If he looks lighter, it's because he's $500 lighter. You got a fine for not wearing a mask on the House floor, because Nancy Pelosi, unlike the Senate where you don't have to wear a mask, she says you've got to wear a mask. Although we saw her yesterday, I believe it was, at the White House, and she doesn't have a mask there. Congressman, what is she trying to prove? Because some say she's just trying to rub Republicans' noses in this, because all the Democrats are vaccinated and not all the Republicans are.
Yeah, Steve, this is the definition of hypocrisy. Leadership 101 at West Point for me, 35 years ago, the first thing they teach you is you never asked people to do something you as the leader aren't willing to do. And here she is in the House at the Speaker's rostrum, not wearing a mask. She goes to the White House, not wearing a mask. Yet she's, keeping this very unscientific. I mean, we all know if you're vaccinated, the CDC came out with this, you don't have to have a mask. But they are forcing it. Even in committee, she basically compelled the House physician to change his rule. His knee-jerk response to the CDC was, hey, let's not wear masks in committee. She came back. He had to retract that and change it. I mean, it's just harassment, basically.
So you're saying she pressured the attending physician to change the rules?
I can't imagine why a physician would come out with one rule. There were no studies in the ensuing 4 days. I'm speculating why he, as a physician, would change his clinical guidance.
Well, don't get caught not wearing a mask again, or it's $2,500 out of your pocket.
That's right, Steve.
All right. Congressman, we thank you very much for joining us today in Nashville.